Hey guys, I'm Steve. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. If it's your first time stopping by the channel, hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you won't regret it. You're a returning subscriber. As always, guys, welcome back, and I do appreciate the support. I'm going to ask you guys a question. When you think of the word justice, what do you think of? Some of you may think of somebody getting something that is coming to them after doing some wrong in society, right? I'm going to talk about this guy right here, and we'll get to him in a second. I'll just put his picture up here. The word justice, I'm looking on the internet, is defined as the concept of fairness and righteousness. Remember those two words, encompassing how people should be treated under law by those who enforce it. I want you to remember that. Now, this guy right here, and I'm gonna show you where I'm going with this. This guy right here is Victor Martinez-Hernandez. He was 24 years old at the time he committed his crime on August 2023 against this woman that you see here. A lot of you people remember her. Her name is Rachel Morin. She was 37 years old. She was killed on a hiking trail in Bellair, Maryland, where she was assaulted, bludgeoned in the head with rocks, and strangled before he hid her in a drainage culvert. She was also assaulted, violated, if you know what I'm saying. Now, some time later, this guy right here, Mr. Hernandez, was caught. 24-year-old guy. This guy right here is also linked supposedly to a 2023 home invasion in Los Angeles. And he's also was wanted in El Salvador for murder of another woman, according to prosecutors. This dude right here illegally came into the country, right? And that's another thing. This guy was just sentenced to life in prison without parole, the possibility of parole. Now, let's go back to justice. It says up here, right, that the core concept of justice is, number one, fairness and impartiality, righteousness and moral rightness, and due process, which is due process is him having the chance to represent himself and defend himself, which he lost. Now, I want you to think back when this happened, because a lot of you guys was keeping up with this story. Who actually won when this is all said and done? Was justice served? He's gotten life without the possibility of parole, but he still gets to live. Whereas she was done dirty, minding her business, and became a target of a predatory animal. I want you to think about that. The word that keeps sticking in my head, and this is why I say what I say about the justice system, when I say shit is bullshit, you never really get justice under fairness and moral rightness. Why? Because it's not equal. It's not balanced. The punishment never fits the fucking crime. I remember covering this trial, like watching this trial, and the people gave their witness statements and all the stuff and all the horrific things this guy did before he even came to this country. Then when he came to this country, a path of destruction before Miss Morin met this monster, right? He gets to live in jail. And that's the word I was telling you about life, ladies and gentlemen. We work our asses off to try to get a good life. Dealing in America as just a normal citizen is struggle enough of trying to keep your head above water. You got to pay bills. You got to do all this other stuff. And here you got somebody that was in the country illegally, did some crazy shit. Now he gets to stay here, but in prison. How the fuck is that some type of justice? You think about that shit. Whether their people are foreign or domestic from here, getting life in jail is one of the biggest smacks in the face for victims and victims' families, in my opinion, when people do heinous, murderous crimes to people that don't deserve it. When they go around and prey on other human beings, that is one of the stupidest fucking things that I've seen them do. If you really sit back and think about it. Take a look at this video, man. Leave me a comment on this. You know, they're talking about what happened in court and they talk about the victim's family, but I'm going to say this real fast. Since I've been covering these court cases and sometimes going to these trials, I've noticed something. You know, when somebody dies, they're not the only person that dies. Family members of the victim, also part of them dies. And I can never explain in the words the empty feeling that you see from people that have lost somebody to just crazy, senseless violence and that look of loss and despair on their face. Even when they smile and it seems like they're in a good mood, you can still see it. And here you are giving somebody life in jail after they just took the life of somebody else and shattered the lives of other people still here remaining to pick up the pieces. This shit is bullshit and they need to change it. Take a look at this, man.
I just want to get your reaction to the sentence today.
No, obviously, Elizabeth, thanks for having me back on. We're very satisfied. It's hard to use a word like pleased. You don't want to use an adjective that describes that there's anything nice coming of this. I sat there with the family as the victim impact statements were read in the courtroom today. And it's just, as you described, heartbreaking to sit there and listen to what Rachel's loss means to that family, as it would to any of our families.
The prosecutor... Yeah, the prosecutor at the trial said that this murder was premeditated. He said, quote, "You don't accomplish a rape and murder in 4 to 6 minutes unless you have a plan." He said there were photos of Rachel Morin and searches of her neighborhood in Martinez-Hernandez's phone.
Our state's attorney, Allison, it's a lady, but she did a great job. She prosecuted this case. She gave the presentation today for the sentencing, asking for the max sentence you get here in Maryland, which is what the judge delivered on. But yeah, as far as the investigation, we are still not sure to this day how he initially decided to target her. But effort was made, obviously, to be on the trail at a time when she was there, to intercept her when no one else was around, and to grab her, pull her away from the trail. They described the blood that they followed from the trail to where he ultimately, assaulted her and took her life. So, that 4 to 6 minutes for all of that to take place, he thought this through. He had a plan. I don't think that we were sure that it was Rachel or just an opportunity for a unlucky woman to be coming down the trail at that time. I did hear, but I'm not 100% sure that he had photos of her on the phone. We do know he was following the news stories related to her case.
Right. I just because it left open the question of how long he might have targeted her if he had been stalking her in some way.
Certainly, that's what we suspect, but we have not confirmed that through any of the investigative avenues. We know it was him that did this horrific act that took her life. The DNA evidence, all the evidence is rock solid. He denied ever being here in Maryland. Of course, coworkers and family put an end to that lie. He's lied his way. What information he did give to investigators before or after being arrested, it was all lies. And the judge saw through that. The state's attorney, again, did a wonderful job. She did a wonderful job presenting the case for sentencing and maximum sentence. Again, it's regrettable that we don't have the death penalty here in Maryland, because this is certainly, in my opinion, a death penalty case.
I was struck by what the judge said when he gave the defendant this maximum sentence. He said, "There is simply no hope to rehabilitate you. If you are released, our community is in grave danger. It's not a matter of if, but when."
Certainly, yeah, they did the whole pre-sentencing workup, and the judge, she spoke about that a little bit, what was contained in the report. I have not seen that report, but there was no doubt in the judge's mind, no doubt in the state's attorney's mind, that if he ever sees the light of day of freedom, that he's going to commit such a heinous act again. He will spend the remainder of his years behind bars in a Maryland prison, and personally, I believe that's too good for him. And again, it's a shame we don't have a death penalty, because anything so horrific, that person, forfeits their right to live amongst a civilized society, in my opinion.
It took 10 months to find him. He was arrested at a bar in Tulsa, Oklahoma, of all places. Do we have any better idea of how he ended up in Tulsa, Oklahoma, why he was there?
Well, no, we know he came into the country. He tried to enter 3 times, actually coming to a port of entry and was turned away. Then he just walked into the country through our open southern border. He ended up in Los Angeles, where he also said he had not been, but he had family, in fact, a brother out there. He committed a home invasion out there, assaulted a woman and a young lady. He fled that scene. That's where the initial DNA hit came. He fled that scene from California, Los Angeles, came here to our, Baltimore bedroom community, about 30 minutes north of Baltimore, here in Bellair, where he lived for many months, worked at a couple of restaurants, used that trail quite often, where he encountered Rachel and took her life. And we think because of the investigation, as we started talking with family members, that's what got him concerned, and he fled this area. Why Tulsa, I have not heard, but through great work with all of our partners at the state, federal, and local level, we were able, within a matter of hours of getting the warrant for him, to pin him down to a bar, and actually to a bar stool in Tulsa, Oklahoma.